do I do it? We both know that I'm coming back. We all know I'm coming back for the camera because I can't just throw away an entire GoPro. And yet here we are, still dancing this dance. Good morning, afternoon, evening. We're in woods. Well, we've kind of got a couple of miles of hiking into the woods. Perfect timing. Where was I? We got a couple of miles, well, just under 2 miles hiking into where we're going. Going to spend a little bit of time in the woods. We're going to do a little bit of cooking and searching for some bits and pieces, so I'll show you all that later. Finn's happy to see you as well, of course. He's just busy sniffing, well, everything really, and then pissing on it. By the time you see this video, it'll probably be next week. So I'm here on a Sunday, but the following week I'm at the winter moot, the Bushcraft UK sort of winter gathering. We're going to be doing loads of cool stuff, so looking forward to that. But it does mean that I won't be releasing anything for that week. I'm going to see if they don't mind me filming bits of it, just to give you a taste of what it's like, really. Anyway, yeah, we're not going to be doing anything other than hiking into where we're going, so we'll catch up when we find a spot. Got something to show you. So this stump here, this log, you can probably still see the remnants there on the edge of it. That's a chicken of the woods spot. So chicken of the woods grows there pretty consistently. Problem is, as you can see, I'm on a path, and it's at prime dog piss height, so don't mind me, mate. Now, what do we think this is? Any suggestions? Hey bird, I know you're already here, but let's pretend I just got here. Yes, yes, we have to pretend for the viewers. Needless to say, we won't be setting up under that. Got a bit more variation here, but also a bit of an open area. And I'm right next to a little pond. That's nice, isn't it? Doesn't mean I am mostly still in coniferous wood, but we've got some deciduous trees around, and just over the other side of the pond, there's loads of birch. I'm going to get Finn hooked up so he can cut around doing his own thing, and then I'm going to start getting my bits together. Right, he's hooked up. He's got his little zip line up it, so I'll have to untangle him every 5 minutes, I expect. Someone selfishly grew a tree there in the woods. I've got this handy pine that has fallen. And the good thing about the pine, or the coniferous woodland, is that one of my tasks today is to see if I can find some fatwood for fire making. And I'm going to make a fire today in the bush box, but I'm going to do it slightly differently to usual. I've got a proper, like a real flint and steel, and I'm going to show you how to do that with jar cloth. Wow, like Casper the Friendly Ghost, Casper the Bold Ghost. I'm not sponsored by Brown's Bushcraft, but I should be with the number of his bags I've got. Look at these. All of those are Brown's Bushcraft. This is my wood I bought in, just because, as we know, technically we need to be using our own wood. You decide what you want to do. Got my gloves back. Well, these are different. Well, they're a new pair of the same gloves. The Hestra Fält guide gloves. So I sent some back because they split. The index finger seam just split after about an hour, 2 hours of use, really light use, and that wasn't good enough. So sent it back to Woodlaw. Woodlaw have been amazing, their customer service. Thank you to Lisa if you ever watch this. Really good, as always. Buy loads of stuff from there. Anyway, they've sent me this set back, a new pair. Hestra agreed that the other pair were faulty, so now I can actually use them and give an honest and fair opinion of them. Obviously if these split as well, that's bad news, but fingers crossed. You have to be careful in coniferous woodland because the ground is covered in a whole layer of duff. It's all the needles, and you know, there's rotting trees, all sorts of stuff. So you need to be really careful that you clear all the way down to the soil, the base layer underneath. Make sure it's not just peat or something like that. Down here is just mud, so I'm good. And I'm not putting a fire on the floor either. I think I'll probably be okay on how far down I've gone. Gone down about 4 inches. That's what she said. You have to really dig it away because that stuff will burn. It is wet here, it's really damp, but pine needles and coniferous needles generally burn pretty well and fiercely, and the mulch that they create under the top layer, that can catch fire as well. So you go through all of that all the way down until you get to mud or clay or something. I'm not going to be having a fire on the floor because I've got the Bushbox. My firebox arrives next week though, so we'll try that out. Bought a sit mat this week, so I've got a Thermarest Z mat thing, one of those folding. Well, I'll show you. So this came off of a full sleeping sized one, which I bought for Finn because I want to bring him out winter camping, but it's been a bit too cold and I don't want him shivering on the floor, so I've got him one of these Thermarest's closed cell foam mats, but he doesn't need a lot of it, so I've chopped a chunk off to use as a sit pad, so I don't get a wet and dirty horrible arse. So let me show you what I've got. So in this bag I have my fire making kit. It doesn't usually have this in, but my fire making kit always has this in. And in here is some dried birch bark, which is great for starting fires. And also within here, let me take my gloves off. Also in here I have a little piece of inner tube wrapped up in paracord, both of which will stay ignited for a while, and inside that I have a lighter. So that's my emergency sort of, I need a fire now, and I've got an elastic band around that holding up the little gas release pump thing, just so it doesn't all empty in my bag. But yeah, so I just keep this wrapped up in the inner tube, and then I wrap all that up with this piece of paracord, and then I've got something that will light in pretty much any condition then, just in case of emergency. And I keep that in the birch bark bag, which is a netted bag, just to allow any moisture to escape if there's any left in there. The other thing I have in here is a Tupperware, just in case I want a picnic. No, not really. So this is a Tupperware, which I use. This is like an emergency flint and steel, or a ferrocerium rod kit really. In here I have a tin, a little old sort of tobacco tin thing with a hole punched in top, and some dry straw. And inside my tin I've got char cloth, which I made myself. It's really easy to make. You just need some cotton, it has to be 100% pure cotton. Chop it up into little rectangles, or the shape of your tin. Puncture a hole in the top of your tin. Some people say you need 2, but I've always been fine with just 1. And then you put it in a fire, and once it stops smoking, you've got char cloth. But that will catch a spark, and I'm going to use that and this, the straw, to show you today how to use this. I got this off of John Fenner, who is pretty well known in the British bushcraft world, and in the US as well, I think. But he used to make these, so he used to be his job just before retirement was an Iron Age warrior. So he used to make these and use them for demonstrations and sell them as well. So it's got flint and it's got steel. Now this steel is just a bit of old file, like an old file that's just been levered off and then all the sharp bits removed. But this is exactly what a flint and steel is. Now the difference between this and a ferrocerium rod is a ferrocerium rod gives abundant sparks and really high temperature sparks as well, whereas this gives far fewer and much cooler sparks. So it is a bit more tricky, but once you've got the knack of it, it's cool. What it does mean is you have to get your fire prepped properly, because you don't want to, once you've got that spark and you've got it into an ember, you don't want to be faffing around trying to find your tinder and stuff. And now this essential piece of kit. So this is a Fox baby core knife thing, which I've repurposed to house my camera batteries, because you're about to run out of battery and that would be disappointing to get a flame and couldn't show it off to all my friends on the internet. There we go, I'm going to be Casper the Ghost again because the sun's popped out. Apologies, but it is what it is. So you want to get your your fire basket thing sorted. I'm going to use a fairly big chunk. So you want this, and it's best to kind of fluff it up a little bit. I'll do that a bit close to the time because it'll just blow everywhere. You then want a piece of char cloth. You don't need to use loads, but I'm going to because I've got loads. Piece of char cloth. So I'm sorry if I'm teaching you to suck eggs here, but I'm going to give the info for anyone who wants it. You know, if you don't want it, then well, tough. So with a flint and steel, I got taught this by John, who's a really great teacher and instructor. So I'm going to get a piece of flint out. Now what you want is a sharp piece of flint with an edge. So I think this has got a few options on this. You can kind of see where it is thinner and more blade-like. Now what you're doing, so again, apologies if I'm patronising, but what you're doing is you're not, it's not the flint that's scraping off. The flint is scraping the steel off because flint is hard. It's really hard material and it's sharp. So what you're doing is you're scraping from top to bottom. You're trying to vigorously smash this and scrape it down the side. And what that flint edge is doing is that's scraping up iron filings that are very hot, and as a result, because technically it's the same as doing this, you're scraping upwards with this bit and downwards with this bit, even though this is the only bit that's moving, the sparks go up. So as the sparks are going up, you want to put your char cloth on the top, like here, and what that'll do is it'll scrape up an iron filing, hopefully, and it'll land on there and it'll turn into an ember. So that's the theory. If you see it's night time when the fire starts, that's how long it's taken me, but I'm hoping it won't take that long. But you also want to go directly downwards, so you're going upwards directly down. You don't want to be going at an angle. Let's fluff that up a bit. No, lost it. Bollocks. There we go. Can you see that? We did it. It wasn't too long either. Brilliant. I'm going to pretend I'm not surprised, and I do that all the time, actually. So we now have an ember in the char cloth. You want to place it in your nest and very carefully surround it and then, like your mum, you want to start blowing. Fire! And this is where having your fire prepped is important, because as you saw, that straw burnt really quickly. The birch bark in there will keep it going a bit longer, and I've got some thinner little bits of kindling in there, and that should catch. I'm going to put a hat on just so I don't look like a big glowing egg. Of course, with a flint and with a ferrocerium rod, that would be even easier. Again, big thank you to John for taking the time. Showed me that at the bush moot actually last year, the winter moot. Just one example of the wealth of experience and generosity of people with their knowledge. So I think now we've done that, I'm going to start thinking about making some lunch and a cup of tea. Oh, I've got some great news on the cup of tea front. Now, if you saw my last video in the woods, you'll know that I messed up, really messed up, because the British Army rations have tea bags in a little brown rectangular sachet, but they also have like moist towelettes, like, you know, like antibacterial wipes in a little brown rectangular sachet, and they look very similar. So this time I've decided to sack off the idea of ration pack coffee, and I'm going back to God's glorious Yorkshire Tea. They're bright red, so I know where my tea is at all times. And I've also, if you watched my last thing in the woods and saw the horrible milk curdling incident of 2025, I bought some of these. Now, it's not proper milk, it's UHT milk, but yes, name a happier person than a half Yorkshireman with Yorkshire Tea and actual milk for his cup of tea. Wunderbar. Look at that guy. Ugh, what's that? So first things first, I'm going to make a cup of tea, then I'll think about making some brunch. This mysterious woodland creature. Hey buddy, hello. I've been digging holes. I've been digging holes. Oh, yes. I think both Finn and I really like this thing, so thank you again to the person who recommended that. I spotted over here there's a fallen pine. I'm wondering if I might be able to find any bits to pull out of it that might be fatwoody. Don't know, should we have a look at this bit? So the shoulder of the, and by the shoulder I mean the where a branch has come off of the main trunk, just it's meant to gather in there. Right, I've got a couple of bits. Take them back to, well, it's not camp, but whatever we're calling it, and we'll see what we can find. I haven't brought my saw with me, but I do have my my Woodlander with me, because I'm going to be using it because I'm going to be cooking and for doing some whittling, and I need a fixed blade knife for both those things for hygiene and safety reasons. So I'm just going to, just with the spine of my knife, you can see the dark bit there, and that feels really hard compared with the rest of the wood. So I'm going to scrape with the spine of my knife, a 90-degree spine you need for this, so I don't blunt my blade, and see what we can get. Okay, now that's a good sign. So it's kind of going whiter in there, which is what you'd hope for. Smells very piney, very resinous. And of course, what you're doing is watching a masterclass in me just getting it everywhere. I think that's going to be too damp. That's my suspicion, but we'll see. Yeah, so that bit's too damp, and because I stupidly didn't bring anything for processing wood other than my knife, what I will do is process that a bit later on, and we'll see if it works, eh? Need my knife off. I love this knife. This is like one of my dream knives. Thank you, Ben Orford. Beauty. And thank you, Lois Orford, as well. The fantastic sheath. Amazing, both amazing craftspeople. I've attached this just so I can easily pull it out with my back fingers here, so if I want to grab the knife I can just pull it out with the back of my hand and then I've already got the knife ready to go pretty much. Top tip might be useful, might not, who cares, I'm not an expert. I see bubbling. I see trees. Why did I do that? This isn't the Zippo I lost, obviously. I had to buy a new one. I shamefully had to go crawling back and buy another one. Great news though, I found the glove. You know the glove I lost? Found it. Thought I'd lost it in the woods, but in fact I'd lost it when I was putting my boots on at home. So I got home and it was just there. So I'd only ever had one glove in the woods that day. Some people might suggest I'm an amateur. You're right. I bought all that in. I'm not sure it's possible to describe how happy I am to have a proper cup of tea. If you don't know what Yorkshire Tea is, you're missing out. It's made by tailors of Harrogate in Yorkshire, and it is the correct tea. It's the only tea. All other teas are just pale in comparison. They pale in whatever. I think my dog might be special needs. Hello. Can't go that way, it's a fire. And you're a bit beansy. Just so you're aware, you probably already know this, but the video you see is cut down from several hours worth of videos usually. So he doesn't just sit there all lonesome, all on his own for the entire thing. We're up and about doing stuff and I'm playing with him and he just gets put back there while I'm doing fire things. Oh, tell you what, these Z-mat things, Thermarest, are really nice to sit on. Proper comfy. Especially if you're old and decrepit, like me. I'm going to cook soon. Got a little pan. And it's nothing fancy. It is just going to be a bacon and egg sanger. Bacon and egg banjo. We have an egg which I put in its own Tupperware, wrapped in tissue, which I foraged from a chicken's ass. I think that's how it works, they come out the arse, don't they? Now I have this pan, which is a pan. Ow! And it's specially designed to hurt if it hits you on the hand like that. So that's passed its test. Good. I do of course have the correct sauce to go with anything that has a fried egg. Fried eggs, brown sauce. Fact. I know some Americans amongst you might find our brown sauce funny, especially when we have a brand called Daddy's, so you can have Daddy's brown sauce. My wife's American, so I get to find all the stuff that I thought was normal that turns out to be weird. Right, let's get some cooking stuff. I'll film it. I'm not going to talk much because what's the point? You can see what I'm doing. Will it work? Holy shit! See, I haven't bought anything I can eat it on, like an absolute numpty, so this is my plate. Yeah, I'd usually butter it, but I haven't got any, so I won't. True story. A lovely egg. Nice little nest. Imagine if I'd opened that and there was just a little chick in there. So no, I don't think I'd have liked that at all. Oh no. Bollocks. More like it. Ow. Fire hot. Ow. Fire hot. Ah. Fire hot. Right, I'm going to completely fuck this, aren't I? Let's see. I'm going to do it down here. Can you see? Probably not. Who cares? I do, that's why I just moved it. Yeah, boy! Right, let's see, can I do this? Oh baby, look at that. Oh no. I've got an eggy Bushbox case. Do I care? No, I don't. There we go. So as you saw, that went completely without any kind of hitch. State of that. Something better about food you've earned. Just, well, I bought 6 rashers of bacon, isn't it? Finn's had the bits that fell on the floor, he doesn't mind. Look at that. Slutty. Good stuff. So it's going to be a week till I see you next, or a little bit more. I'm really looking forward to the bush moot. I think it's bushmoot.com if you're interested, but if not, go to bushcraftuk.com. You can find all the details there. I'm not affiliated. I use the forum. I'm not, you know, I'm not paid or affiliated by them. I did bring wet wipes because I'm going to be, well, because I knew I was going to be handling raw meat, and I don't really want to give myself dysentery. The good thing about using all the bacon now, which I wasn't planning on doing, is that I can just crush up the packet and it's easier to carry home then. Please don't litter. If you come into the woods and do this stuff, don't litter. Like eggshells, anything that you think might be biodegradable, if you bought it in, take it out with you. Especially if it's a Labrador, because I don't think the wildlife's ready for that yet. That video I posted about bushcraft knives and like the legality behind them, I forgot I had it. I filmed it last summer and it was in my, like, I've got a folder on my computer where all my filmed stuff is ready for editing and stuff, and I'd forgot it was there. So that was a nice surprise. But yeah, it seems to have certainly got some attention, so if you're a new viewer, welcome. This is the kind of stuff I usually do, and if you're a new subscriber, thank you very much and welcome. I really appreciate it. I know that the views have been quite, I think people have got quite strong opinions about the whole knife thing. As I said, my wife's American, so I don't want you to think that I have no awareness of the US or things at all. I know you folks have got much better knife laws than us, I think, anyway. But you know, the UK is a great country as well. Don't be put off by the entire UK just by that. And there's been people on there saying, oh, you know, they've taken your guns, they've taken your knives. Like, they haven't. Like, firearm ownership is still pretty high in the UK. I go shooting regularly, I go shooting most weekends. Knife ownership, I can own pretty much anything other than these stupid zombie knife bands they put in. But that, you know, bushcraft knives, I can own those. Got this with me, my Ben Orford. Like, this is, I'm somewhere where I've got a reasonable excuse for it, because I'm using it for cooking, I'm using it for whittling, and I'm not just carrying it for no reason. I keep it in the bottom of my pack until I'm here, and then I use it and I put it back in my pack, so I'm not causing any danger to anyone. Yeah, the laws are a bit stupid. If you're from the US though, don't let that put you off. We've got some great parts to this country as well. And the reality is, we're different countries. We're a much smaller country than you. We don't have as much open space. We're just different. So whilst I'm happy for you that you've got the freedoms that you enjoy, we've also got some freedoms as well. Quite a, you know, relatively we're a fairly free country in general. Come over here, give it a go. It's nice. I love so my visits to the US have mostly been around Colorado. and that is again a beautiful state, amazing scenery, amazing outdoors. I've done some shooting there as well. You know, I like the fact that I can shoot sidearms and stuff there. That's really cool. But so, you know, we can love both countries, right? It doesn't have to be one over the other. We've all got our pros and we've all got our cons, you know. I know everything's not perfect in the US either, just as it's not perfect here. But as people who love our country, what we can do is try and make it better. Vote and be nice to people and be kind to people, and don't take your rights for granted. There we go. I'll step off my soapbox now. But thank you for viewing, and thank you for tuning in. And I really do appreciate it. It's amazing to me that people, you know, in different countries, let alone people in the UK, might want to watch me chatting nonsense and just doing the stuff that I enjoy doing. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. And hopefully I can share some stuff back that you find helpful as well. And that way I'm kind of giving back a little bit. So thank you. And I will say, I'm not a political person. I don't support a party in particular. I don't, you know, I'm not on one end of the spectrum or the other. So this isn't going to be a political channel. It's just going to be doing outdoor stuff, explaining the realities of things. I might have an opinion in the comment section, but on videos that's not the place for it. And I just ask that you treat each other with respect and kindness. Chatted so much shit that my camera's decided to kill itself. Okay. Like that scene from Ghost. Finn was kind of digging at this, which I think it's the root of a pine sapling, and it's very solid. So as you can see, a lot of it's disintegrated off. But if you have a look at what's left, you've got a big burl basically at the bottom, and that looks quite resinous, that wood in there. So I think this one might be a decent shout. Just want to see what I can see. Yeah, there we go. Do you see that? It's kind of got the layered effect there. So the darker bit there looks like a bit of fatwood. That's good. So I found a good bit, I think. So I'll process this, get a bit of the fatwood out of it, and maybe I can use that next time. We can thank Finn for that, because he was digging at it and I wouldn't have known there was a stump there otherwise, because this was buried under the mulch. What a good bloke. Look at him. Fire what? Hey! That's gross. Oh, he's gonna have shits, isn't he? There's gonna be so many. Finn, come here! Good boy! Well done, buddy! Oh, that's a nice stick. Wow! Ah! Finn, come on! There's a good boy! Well done, buddy! Wow! His recall is, as you can see, getting much better. He's a good boy. Every time he comes past, that stick is slightly shorter. You see that creature down there? So, Finn and I are going to head off. It's been a good day in the woods. We did lose some bacon, but my loss was Finn's gain. And we found some fatwood, so I'm going to take that home, process it, and I'll maybe show you that. And it'll be a couple of weeks. As I said, I'm away next week, but might see some highlights from the bushmoot, we'll see. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I never really expected to really get anyone watching my videos, so I really genuinely appreciate it. If you're into bushcraft and you're into the outdoors, you're welcome here. Don't care about your background, I don't care about anything else, just thank you for watching, and see you next time. Yummy! Hi there, bud. Do you need a bondulance? Come on in. Come on. Good boy. How do I do it? We both know that I'm coming back. We all know I'm coming back for the camera because I can't just throw away an entire GoPro. And yet here we are still dancing this dance.